Hey guys, what's going on? Sincere here with whoissincere.com and the All Rights Matter show. I just did a story literally probably about an hour ago talking to you about Rothschild Island here in Antarctica, and how Rothschild Island is really Latitti Island, but for some reason William R. Latitti has been removed from Wikipedia, and Google Maps has decided to leave the name of the island as Rothschild Island, while other organizations have gotten the obvious update, and it's no longer named Rothschild Island, but it's named Latitti Island, as it's been named for named that I believe for almost 40 years now. So just an interesting story there. And, I also showed you here a Poland oceanographer actually pointed that out as well. He was kind of confused by it. Google Maps labels Latitti Island as Rothschild Island, so he didn't understand that either. And I gave you a little bit about the story of who William Robertson Latitti actually was. It's kind of like a James Bond kind of figure, if you will, man of action. But so that was a, good story that I just got done doing, talking about this, this strange occurrence down here in Antarctica. Now, something else that I found that was very interesting was, and also I encourage you to actually, hey, check this story out. I'll leave a link below for this. I want you to go through it. Let me know what you think about all of this, because I break it down a little bit into what I actually think. That was just a, brief, less than 2-minute breakdown. All right, so upon looking just a little bit more, what's going on in that area with Rothschild Island, and all that stuff, I came across this game called NationStates.net. Now, this is just a game, kind of like the Illuminati card game. It's just a game. It's you create a nation. Here it is. This is how you play the game. So let's go up a little bit here. First, you create a nation. From there, it depends. Most nations concentrate on developing their laws and ideology by answering issues which pop up several times a day. Others prefer to engage on the international scene by winning a position of power in regions, crafting international laws in the World Assembly, or discussing various matters in the forums. You can explore or ignore different areas of the world as you choose. Okay? So, it's just an ongoing game now. Is this game popular? Yes, it's popular. This is what's going on, an update of what's going on right now as we speak, as this video is being recorded. It's a popular game. Thousands upon thousands of people are on this game of nation states. And there's all kinds of things, following new legislation in temperament. Motorcycle riders are required to wear so much gear, they've been nicknamed Stay Puffs. So, there's all kinds of stuff here. School plays were recently banned due to concerns of child endangerment. You can create whatever kind of world you want. You can, whatever kind of legislation and orders and all this other stuff that you want to create. So thousands of people are on here. They're constantly doing whatever, they want to do and creating their worlds. So what I found here on Nation States was a very interesting part here. Someone set up a Neo-Antarctic geography. And I don't really see anyone following this or anything. And this was created some time ago. If I scroll down to the bottom here, it says it was created, or maybe this user, I don't know, I think this was created a year and 245 days ago. Up here it says a year 310 days ago. So I'm not sure, maybe it was just, updated or something like that, but it doesn't have many reads, only 24 reads on it, okay? So, and this is in the Dispatch Fact Book Geography section. Now, this is very interesting because if you'll notice, you'll see that I'm not sure whether these are like the eagle feathers with in a sickle form, kind of. I'm not sure like what this is here, but you'll see that you have the rising sun here. You'll see here that you have the hammer and sickle here, which is the kind of Russia, Russia and China logos, I guess you could say, with the star at the top. So you have Alaska here. I mean, not Alaska. I'm sorry, Antarctica with the penguin in there. But somebody obviously took some time and thought about this. Okay, somebody took some time and thought about this. Now, what I was showing you in my last video, talking about how they've pretty much disrespected the memory of William Letady by taking this island that some explorer named after, the Rothschilds back in 1908 to 1910, taking this island that Mr. Letady went to, and then he mapped out in the Rhone expedition, in the 40s, pretty much this whole 250,000 square mile area of Antarctica that was previously unexplored. He didn't stay out here and just point at it. He went in here and he literally mapped it out, flew over, and got all the aerial photography necessary so that people can know what this landmass actually really looks like. And they named it after him. So, that's pretty much what I pointed out. And again, they did name it after him. OpenStreetMap actually has it named correctly. OpenStreetMap has Rothschild Island up here for some reason. They're the only ones with Rothschild Island up here. Google has Rothschild Island down here, and a couple other places have labeled Rothschild Island right here. So not really sure why OpenStreetMap has it up here, but they did actually get it right by having Letady Island right here. So I just thought that, again, that was very interesting. But if we go over here, we see that, this part of the world has not been forgotten about by NationStates.net. These people in the video game obviously understand this area, and I'm not sure what map they're really taking this from. This is probably the Google map if I had to look at it and if I had to guess. And yeah, it looks pretty close to the Google map. Yeah, that's pretty close right there. What do you say? Yeah, I'd say so. So they're obviously using the Google map, but what I thought here is what they did interesting with this area is they, assigned it some nuclear reactors. So we see so much on the TV about these dome cities. There was a series on that was the dome or under the dome or something like that. So it's a huge, thing that's been talked about for a long time, dome cities. So that's what this pretty much refers to as dome cities in Antarctica. And I've always said that. I've always said, why are we trying to go to the moon and all these other places when we haven't figured out how to even inhabit certain parts of our own Earth yet? So we have people all caught up in this science, quote unquote science of going to Mars and to the moon, to inhabit these places. Well, why haven't they set up a glass dome society somewhere in Antarctica, so that you can at least train for some of the challenges that you'll face, going to another planet or going to the moon or something like that. So I've always asked that question, and no one has ever really come up with a good answer. We will never be able to survive on another planet if we haven't even figured out how to survive on our own. Just remember that every time you hear people talking about going to Mars and surviving on Mars and the moon and all that kind of stuff, we haven't figured out how to survive on Earth. So, and until we can figure out how to build a dome, I'm not saying that we don't already know how to do it. It's very, very likely that we've already built one and that it's actually in Antarctica. So I'm just saying that maybe we should bring that to public light as far as how to live in this dome society before we start brainwashing people to talk about, living on Mars and the moon. That's all a bunch of lunacy, if you will. It's a bunch of fantasy. None of that is really ever going to happen within our lifetime if we can't even figure out how to live in a place like this. So what I thought interesting was whoever made this, made it, an ability to live a place like this. And as I was focused on was the Rothschild Island there. I'm just going to read this to you here. It says, New Rothschild Megacity. Neo-Antarctica's island megacity, New Rothschild Megacity, was constructed in 1968 to support the nation's largest military base/Air Force base, which is located near the city. The city and military base are powered by the Rothschild reactor located on the island. Most of the weapons and vehicles used on the nearby military base are produced in the New Rothschild Megacity's main factories, which specialize in weapons productions. Industries/resources, military, and arms production. So it seems fitting for the Rothschild family to be involved, the banking family to be involved in just that, weapons and defense. So, supplying both sides, if you will. And here we have them sitting out here on an island, and they're able to, pretty much from this perspective, oversee this whole area if they really wanted to. Or if the population lives here, they oversee that. So, and we read on here that, a lot of the population does live in these areas, like the Boise City is the largest of the 4 megacities. That became the hub of general manufacturing, so that means that people live there. Hydroponic farming, people live there. And the north side megacity up here, this is the largest, this is the political sector and the largest sector for farming. So that means a lot of people live here, and the military is here. People, military, more people. Refueling, I believe. Shipping, transportation, and mining. People. So whoever thought of this actually had some ideas in mind, and this would be actually technically set up as the, if there was any kind of a dictatorial stance to take over this area and controlling this area, this would actually be the way to do it. And this would actually be the place to actually keep your military equipment and vehicles and all that stuff out of the eyes of the prying, quote unquote, public. So I thought that this was very interesting. Quick little find here that somebody actually, I just want to show you guys, somebody actually took some time, put some time into this. So, and it also even gives, thoughts to stuff like, in addition, there are 12 remote military outposts and 15 ICBM silos. So, intercontinental ballistic missiles, that's something that you would need just in case you want to control, control someone. It could be them controlling the mainland over here or something like that. I don't know. But, at the end of the day, I do know that this is a very interesting model. Not many people have actually took the time to actually read it. 24 reads. And again, it goes down to this Rothschild Island again. And, is exactly what the Rothschild would be using a resource like Antarctica for, military and arms production. Now, I say that even though I know that this is a game, okay? I know this is a game. I don't need you guys going in my comment section saying, oh, you're doing videos about games now, and it's just a game. Well, the Illuminati card game is just a game too, and we see how many things off of that card game, quote unquote game, have looked just like real life, incidentally. And it's not, it's so coincidental right now that it's not even coincidental anymore. It opens up a whole series of questions. So this is the same thing with nation states, Is this coincidental? Is this one of those things where we're starting to find out more about Antarctica, and we've been putting all these resources there, and it's obvious that we've been putting resources there. Like I, showed you here with William Robertson Latady. This man was, is a hero. You know what I mean? He pretty much went down to this area on the Rhone expedition, and that's what they did. They mapped out this whole area. Okay, so this is something. Here you go. Right here. It was mapped out in detail from air photos taken by the Rhone Antarctic Research Expedition, 1947 to 1948. So, this is something that was a pretty big deal, back then, and that's why they named the island after him. This is, this guy is a really important guy right here. I'm sorry, right there, William Robertson Letady. So, just think it's very interesting that, that this is still named Rothschild Island here, and that somebody would go through, all of the work of really putting something like this together, and knowing that there's something more going on down in Antarctica, and even people like, Mr. Letady here, who, experts like this, they were used, pretty much during the wartime scenario. Their expertise was actually very important during the wartime scenario. So here's a part right here. In 1943, Bill was employed at MIT's radiation laboratory, where his technical expertise turned to secret war projects. So we know that this guy, had some kind of technical expertise that was very beneficial to MIT's radiation laboratory. So when you talk about the radiation laboratory, that time frame, secret war projects, you're thinking nuclear. And if you're thinking nuclear, it's funny that this is what it's showing you. It's showing you nuclear power in Antarctica. Okay, these are nuclear zones. So at the end of the day, these are zones that are pretty much ran by nuclear reactors. So whoever created this had a hell of an imagination. They just had a hell of an imagination. And I thought that would be interesting just for me to show you that, especially with this name associated with it, with the Rothschild there, and it should be the Letady Island. So good information here. Thought I'd share it with you. You can get it out there if you like. You can just save it and put it away and hold it for a rainy day in case it's necessary to look back at this information one day. But, if you do like information like this, I ask that you just like the video and share it and get it out there. If you find anything else interesting about Antarctica, or the Antarctic region in general, feel free to share it, drop it below and let me know what you think. If you find anything that the Russians are working on or that China is working on down in Antarctica, let me know, what you find out there. I know the UK is working on a ton down in Antarctica. They have some outposts down there. So very interesting, some landing strips, a lot of work they're doing on subglacial features and stuff like that. So very interesting, all of these lakes underneath the glaciers, and good interesting work going on down there. And I'd like to know what you find out about that the region of our Earth. Okay, so as always, guys, stay alert, stay alive.